We got a government shutdown that is currently wreaking havoc on some people's lives right now. People losing their jobs, unfortunately. We got some people who are kind of in limbo right now who are looking to purchase some homes and not knowing exactly if they're going to be able to accomplish that, which is what we're going to talk a little bit more about today. And I mean, overall, really just covering the effects that the government shutdown could have on the housing market and everything. So, as most people know, about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, somewhere around there, government shutdown. And the government shutdown, actually, by the time this airs, it might be closer to 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks. But in any case, government shutdown, and we're wondering, a lot of people are wondering what's the effect it's going to have on the housing industry.
Housing.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to be talking about, the effects that it's going to have. And so a lot of Americans that are concerned about the government shutdown, I will say that for the most part, at least in the immediate impact, the near impact, there's not going to be a huge impact in terms of most of the mortgages that will be originated in the housing industry for people looking to purchase homes. So people who are getting traditional FHA loans, a lot of people who are getting conventional loans, if you're getting a VA loan, those are still going to be happening, as normal, if you will. There's not really going to be much disruption there. But if you're looking at trying to do a reverse mortgage, you probably going to end up having to put the brakes on that for a minute, especially when those funds are coming from, the government. Because in a reverse mortgage, you're actually getting paid for the equity in your home, vice you paying a mortgage. And so, that might be disruptive. You're getting one of those Title I loans for, home repairs or anything like that. You might have to pump the brakes on getting those funds as well. If you're getting a USDA loan, believe it or not, there are a lot of lenders out there who actually have stopped with the USDA loans. So anything that ends with the A, VA, FHA, USDA, these are all government-backed loans. And so...
Oh, you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Administration.
Yes. Federal Housing Administration, Veterans Administration.
I wasn't expecting to learn nothing new tonight. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so everything that ends with an A is a government-backed loan, and those government-backed loans are, for the most part, going to stay on track, with the exception of USDA. USDA is kind of, been a little bit in limbo right now. So, but FHA is still happening as usual, because FHA is not actually giving money. Like, the government doesn't give money when you purchase a home under a FHA loan. They're just insuring the loan. So if you default on your mortgage, that's when, the government has to step in and, give money. But when you purchase the home, that's not something that, the government's doing or anything. So, for the most part, there will be effects. It's just to be seen as far as how far it's going to reach. People are wondering interest rates, what's going to happen, home prices, what's going to happen. And I think a lot of the effects that are going to happen on the housing market are going to be secondary and tertiary effects from other things that are happening. If people start pulling money out of the stock market and bonds become a little bit more enticing because it's a little bit more stable of an investment, then you might see, and that's not people pulling money out of the stock market because stock market's crashing. It could just be because if enough people are, getting laid off or losing their jobs or not getting paid, because there are a lot of people not getting paid during the furlough period and everything like that, you might see a decrease in some funds in the stock market. And in that instance, it's just because people got bills to pay, selling off stocks so they can get the money to pay their bills and do whatever they need to do. So if you start seeing enough of that, I think that bonds become a little bit more enticing as a stable investment, perhaps because as people pull money out of the stock market, stock prices drop. People start pulling money out more and more and more when they start seeing those prices drop out of that reactionary effect. And all of a sudden they're like, where can I put my money? Bonds. Well, the mortgage industry is tied to the bond market. The interest rates for the mortgage industry are tied to the bond market. And so if they start putting their money there, guess what? That helps out with the mortgage industry and, interest rates and everything like that. So I think a lot of those effects that we're going to see in the mortgage side of things are going to be secondary and tertiary effects from other things that are going to happen in the housing market.
Well, I think it's still pretty early to tell
Yeah.
exactly what's going to happen. The
Mm-hmm.
one thing I do know is that when it comes to, I know when it came to the student loans, for instance, being repaid, that in addition to like the tariffs and the economy and economic uncertainty with buyers and everything being so much more expensive now than it was this time last year and all of that, when the tariffs went into effect, the in the student loans, that forbearance or whatever, that forbearance period ended.
Mm-hmm.
People who were, in line to purchase homes, who were under contract, and they're like, okay, well, forbearance over, now you got to start back paying. Their DTIs changed dramatically. So this $400,000 house that they were able to afford, now that you have the student loan payment, you can afford maybe 325
Mm-hmm.
max. And so that whole transaction just falls apart. And we saw that a couple of times. And even now, one of my clients, I don't know exactly what happened with him. I don't know if he just wasn't making his payments or what exactly, but his student loans reported, I think he probably did not apply for the forbearance. Like, people didn't realize that, oh, the federal government is giving us forbearance, during the Biden administration.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, you had to actually apply and let
Yeah.
them know this is what you want to do. You couldn't just stop paying. And I think that that's what some people did. They were just so busy, they didn't take the time. Don't ever be so busy to the point where you don't take care of business. And then they just stopped paying. And so all of those months were just reported of non-payment, and it drastically dropped his credit score to where he can't get qualified for anything except maybe owner financing. But even with owner financing, if you want to give the owner some assurance that you're going to pay them, it would be best to turn in at least a copy of your credit report with your
Mm-hmm.
owner financing, offer. And, even with, most places, especially like I work a lot with rental listings. I list homes for rent. If someone has medical bills or student loans, and that's pretty much the only thing that's making their credit score low, I'll work with them. We'll work with them, but because that will definitely significantly affect your credit score. But when you just have all these charge-offs or repos, I've known people with 2 and 3 repos. Every car you got, they came in and got it. Every car you had, that kind of thing. Is like, well, we don't think that you're being responsible with your credit. So, it's going to be interesting to see how this has an effect. And, first and foremost, shout out to those. Our thoughts and prayers are with those who not only are furloughed right now and you have some sort of reasonable expectation of being able to have a job to go back to, but now our wonderful president is doing something that is unprecedented in that he is actually doing layoffs, which has never been done before. But he is actually he's doing layoffs for certain government federal agencies during this furlough period, so people won't even have a job to go back to. They call it reduction in force, RIF layoffs. That, I think, is like the worst part of it. Like, that is almost like unconstitutional or against the law, and you have some states that are fighting it in court to try to prevent that. But he's pretty much always been the do what I want. This particular term has been marked by just to do what I want, no matter what people say and who it affects, type of thing. So, our thoughts and prayers are with those who are actually getting laid off during this time. And he's also talking about taking away the back pay for when the furloughed people go back. And
Oh, is that what the new thing is that they're talking about? Taking away back pay? Yeah, try that with the military. See if that don't backfire real quick. Folks out there defending freedom, as you would say, and defending the nation, defending our interests around the world. And yeah, try taking that away. And we'll see how far that goes with you. We'll see how far that gets you. the people who are defending the nation take away their pay and then say you're not gonna get back pay for all that work you did. Like, yeah, I'd like to see you try that one.
World War III.
I'd like to see you try.
I mean, don't challenge. You can't challenge somebody that's unhinged. I don't. We
Oh,
don't know.
oh, you haven't seen Unhinged? Like, we ain't paying the military.
I agree.
Because I think that's gonna backfire so quick. And the only reason is because having served with you know, a lot of those individuals, like I know that there are a number of people in the military. I mean, they're not rich by any means. You know, they're getting regular salaries like a lot of other people. And some of them, it's like they need their checks to be able to make ends meet.
Absolutely.
Some of them, thankfully, you've had some banking institutions, I think, like, you know, Navy Federal, I think maybe USAA, but I know there's a couple of them that, you know, more specifically cater to service members that have helped to continue to supply that pay that, you know, service members may be needing during this time because they're not getting paid either. But yeah, if it were to come like a thing where, oh, they're not gonna get back paid. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna backfire real quick. And I don't care how big and bad and bold anybody thinks they are. I think it's gonna turn south real quick.
Well, I'm excited to see it. Either way, I'm very excited to see what's going to happen.
Oh, I mean, I got my popcorn.
Golly, I don't know. I think, you know, I know that you've spoken to the mortgage side of things, and I'm sure that there's a lot of lenders that follow and they can relate more to your viewpoint. But then there's also realtors that follow our podcast and can relate more to what I say. And for me, I was telling a 3-year veteran earlier today. I'm a 7-year veteran. Next month will make 7 years for me. I was telling them, I've always heard you list to last. If you are strictly a buyer's agent in real estate, you'll have your ebbs and flows, but you know, if you always want a check to come in, you need to focus more on getting listings. Thankfully, God has been so gracious and good to me that I don't market myself. I don't pay for leads anymore. I did the first few years, and that never amounted to anything but either rentals or, you know, people who were half serious. But now when you get to a certain point in your career, you basically go off referrals. You know, people just refer you, or your phone just rings, and the clients that you have other clients. But I never close myself off to anything. That's number one. If there was a rental, some renters, I've gotten listings from renters like, hey, I'm renting, but my mom has a house, you know, or I'm renting and I eventually want to buy. Those are very few and far in between, I'll be honest. But you list to last. So in this economy, with this uncertainty that's coming up, that you know, the article that we're talking about today is referring to, you really, as a realtor, want to be focusing on listings, because any home that's priced right will sell, but every buyer is not going to be able to buy. Frederick and I have a mutual client. He and I did an event a couple of weeks ago at a school, and we had a mutual client. Lovely lady. Frederick said it was the highest credit score of anybody he's ever seen in all of his years of doing mortgages. And it's so crazy with the interest rates where they are now, and with the income where it was, we, you know, just weren't able for the area that this client wanted to live in, we just weren't able to get, you know, an approval. Well, there was an approval, but we weren't able to go through with a transaction. And that's how it is with buyers. While the interest rates are where they are, with the uncertainty of the furloughs and things, whether you work for the government or not, just about all of us have jobs that are affected by either what's going on in the government or the economy. And so buyers may not always be able to buy, but sellers will always be able to sell, and even more so now, because even as Frederick mentioned, you know, even as you mentioned, Frederick, like, there's going to come a time where people are selling property because they need the money.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to generate cash some kind of way. So I definitely recommend that, you know, realtors, you know, really begin focusing on finding those people, because they're out there. They need the cash. even those special circumstances, probate, divorce, people who are obviously going to be needing that cash, be focusing more on that. And honestly, the one reason I would say that I have listings upon listings I always have listings for the last 2 years, I've consistently had listings, is because I used to just make that my daily confession.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you hear enough, you'll eventually begin to believe. And if you believe it, then it manifests. Even if it's you hearing it from someone else or you hearing it from your own mouth, it works the same. So if someone's consistently telling you that you're ugly, and eventually you'll believe it if you consistently let them keep telling you that, and you'll display characteristics that are in keeping with the confession of ugly, right? So it's the same thing with the words that you speak positively or you speak negatively, everything ends up positively for you. So if you speak something negatively, it ends up affirming itself in your life. And that's what I mean by positively. So I used to literally say my daily confession was, I have listings in, and I would say all the counties that I wanted and didn't mind driving to, right? So Clayton, Henry, Fayette,
Fulton.
Gwinnett, Cobb, DeKalb, Fulton counties at the same dang time. That was literally my confession every day. And now I'll be darned if that isn't true. And this is what I shared with the agent that I was talking to earlier today. I was just like, I think, yes, the referrals are great, but whatever you tell yourself is exactly what's going to end up happening in your life. So I don't want anyone to be discouraged about this. I know inevitably some people will become discouraged because they don't have the source of hope that we do, but this is just one of those times in life where it's so much uncertainty. You need to have faith and assurance and confidence in something other than the presidency and the economy, because those things are really, really shaky right now.
Yeah. I want to say it's like what pops in my head is, you live long enough and nothing quite shocks you anymore. You've kind of, when you first get into real estate, and you go through your first cycle and your hair's on fire, you get a few more years in there and been through all the cycles and everything. It's like nothing's, throwing you off your game too much. And I think that proves true even in the economy. It's a government shutdown, and yes, it's unfortunate. This too shall pass. We'll be looking back on this 5 years from now, 10 years from now, looking at, what, as a nation, we made some horrible decisions, and then, we got through it. This is where we are now, or whatever it is. But, it's that whole, this too shall pass mentality. I just think of how people who are senior to us, maybe in their 60s or 70s, that are sitting back and watching this, and they're not freaking out. Hair's not on fire. They're like, yep, we've been through a couple of recessions. We've been through a number of government shutdowns. We've been through, we've been through this before. This is nothing new. It's kind of like living in Chicago and a snowstorm comes. If it's your first snowstorm, you're like, oh my goodness, the roads are shut down. We're going to be, stuck in the house for the next week and a half or 2 weeks, whatever. But if you don't live there for, a couple of decades, you didn't live through a few snowstorms, and it's like, this too shall pass. We're going to be all right. You're kind of not freaking out. And I don't say that to make light of, the challenges that people are going through, because people are going through some very real challenges. People having income challenges. People that, having employment challenges, whatever it might be, affordability challenges with, just the cost of what things are right now. But in the end, I think that if you keep the level head that, we're going to work through this, and you just keep pushing forward, keep swinging the axe. Eventually we're going to get, to the other side of this forest and, on to brighter days. Yeah.
We always do. We are a resilient nation.
Yeah. I think we'll find our footing, and we'll get, on the straight and narrow.
At least that's what we hope. Jesus didn't come back on September the 23rd and the 24th, as Prophet Joshua went viral and had folks selling their homes and quitting their jobs because they was expecting the rapture to happen. We're still here. Either that or I got left behind, huh?
A number of us did, and but yeah.
Now that I don't mean to make light of, y'all. I'm sorry, but it's just like, it just baffles me how the Bible says no man knows the day or the hour, and then a man pops up and says, I know the day and the hour, and everybody runs after him and runs after what he. And it also says in Matthew 24 and in Luke 16, I believe, many will say, here the Christ is. Do not run after them. Do not go after them. Do not follow them. Jesus said it over 2,000 years ago. I said, if anything, what happened last month on the 23rd and 24th, where people were looking for the rapture, it did nothing but show you and prove who is not reading their Bible with understanding. If it did nothing else, who's not reading their Bible and who's not reading with understanding. So, we're resilient. Yes, we can make it through anything, but make sure that God is your source.
Yeah, we're resilient, but we also do a lot of foolish things. I mean, just because it also says in Revelation, men will be lovers of themselves, heaping up for themselves, having itching ears, heaping up for themselves teachers that will tell them what they want to hear. And, we're going to fall further and further and further away. But there's still going to be a remnant that is going to be really, really challenging for in those last days too. I mean, you listen to a lot of pastors, they believe we're inching toward those last days. Some people think we're in the last days. Since no man knows the hour or the day, no one knows how close we really are. But it also says that, you should be able to discern the times in which we are living. And if you're looking around, you can definitely see it's some stuff that's shaping up in the world with wars and rumors of wars and a whole lot of other stuff that,
famine in diverse earthquakes in diverse places and widespread famine.
Yeah.
It's here, but I was like, oh Lord, I don't think I'm ready for you to come back. And one thing I know about the last days is that the children of God are going to be yearning. Every single one of us who really belong to him are going to be yearning for him to come back. There's not going to be a single person that's going to think that he's maybe coming back and then going to be like, well, I'm not ready for you. I still got a few more things. That's how bad things are going to get. People don't understand that he's going to let them get bad. Before he raptures the church, he's going to let them get very bad. This right here, we ain't seen nothing yet, y'all. And then even if he was planning on coming back on September 23rd and 24th, with the advent of social media, everybody's sitting around and sold their house, then stopped shacking up, then stopped doing whatever it was, stealing from the bank and whatever else they was doing in preparation for him to come. He probably said, well, you know what? Now everybody's expecting me. I'm going to hold off a little longer. Because it says he's going to come at a time when no one expects him. So just live how it is that you're supposed to live. Just live right. Do what you're supposed to do. That's the bottom line. Be found doing. And my prayer is always, Lord, whenever you come back, let me be found doing your will. Don't let me be out here in these streets acting crazy. And that's it. We're supposed to be ready at all times because we don't know. And we're not going to know. And, I really hope this is a lesson for people. I hate that people actually went out and did that. And then I need to find out where this man is that said Jesus came to him in a dream and told him he was coming back on September the 23rd and the 24th because of the time zone. God don't work in time.
Maybe
he created time, but he don't need time. So that's how I knew he was lying.
Maybe many will be deceived. Yes. That is also in scripture.
Yes, it is.
Many will be deceived. And that brother got deceived. Enemy deceived him. That's why you got to hold tight to your word, because if there's anything you hear, any dream you have that is in any way contradictory to the word of God, that is not from God. That it's from the enemy or it's from, yourself, but it's not from God if it contradicts the word, because he's never contradicted his word.
That's right.
And so, government shutdown, I I tell my wife and I have talks about this from time to time, and I'll tell her the same thing because she's a little bit more worrying type than I am. I don't really worry about anything really. It's like stuff happens and it's like, all right, what's next? How do we get past this and get on to the next thing? She's more of the worrying type. And then I'll
Yeah.
tell her when we have these discussions, what's the point in worrying about something that I can't control? I don't watch the news partly because it's all bad, but the other part is, in addition to it being, so much negative news and, mud throwing between Republicans and Democrats, aside from it being all of that, it's like I can't affect any of it. So what's the point of me just ingesting all of this stuff that I can't change? What's the point of me feeding my mind and my brain and my spirit all of this negative stuff, and I can't do anything about it? It's like, you know what? I don't want to hear it. Let me focus my time and attention on the sphere of influence that God has given me to be able to affect the people that I can reach, whether it be through this podcast, whether it be, in my daily job when I'm doing mortgages. How can I just conduct myself in a way to where people receive Christ and, I'm able to guide them to a better place. I'm like, let me just focus my time and efforts and attention on that. May I build my website a little bit more, write another book, do whatever. But it's like, man, if I spend time watching the news and I can't do anything to change anything that I'm seeing or hearing, regardless of how much I may agree or disagree with it, it's like, I'm gonna just cut it off because I can't do anything. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I like that.
that's what I didn't focus on more than anything. But I'm just not a worrier, though. I mean, this government shutdown, honestly, a lot of people are thinking it's going to last a lot longer than what
Previous ones.
previous ones, exactly. But I don't care how long it lasts. But I also know who provides for my needs.
I'm gonna be good. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
I don't care I have that abundance mindset.
yeah.
And I think people like us tend to get on people who have more of a anxious outlook. We get on
Get on their nerves.
Go,
Yes,
man.
we getting on their nerves.
Don't worry about nothing. I'm sorry, and you can't make me. I feel sorry for you, actually, because I can't imagine what you're going through. There are certain things that will frazzle me, but I only let it frazzle me for like a day, a week at most. And it has to be something really serious. And that's because I truly believe Romans 8:28. All things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are the called according. Like, I truly believe that. And I've never seen where no matter what happens, it didn't eventually work out and I got my peace back. And it's happened over and over and over again in my life. Why would it happen this time? It doesn't matter what it is either. That's the kind of God that I serve. And we are all at different levels of faith and different levels of maturity in Him. And so a part of coexisting with others who sometimes we may get on their nerves is just understanding that, yes, we want them to come up to that level of faith, but we're all at different levels of faith and we have to tolerate each other and accept each other and just continue to be that stoic, that stalwart example, that unmoving example to them that I'm not going to be moved. And honestly, that is, to me, the outlook of Christ, because Christ was in the bottom of the boat during the worst storm of any of the disciples had ever seen. And he was asleep with his head on a cushion. And they were freaking out like, Jesus, if you don't wake up, we all fixing to die.
And they were fishermen. So they had spent some time out on boats before. This ain't the first time the boat had been rocked, but it was that bad. Yeah.
And Jesus was like, huh? Rubbing the sleep out of his eyes. What y'all freaking out about? Y'all done woke me up. And he just went out and rebuked the storm. He said, peace, be still. The name of the storm was peace. And he called it by name. And he told it to be still. The name of the storm wasn't storm. The name of the storm was peace. He said, peace, be still. And so, we have to just realize how much authority when you really step into who you are and how much authority you have as a believer, what God has given you, authority is permission to use power. God has given us power as believers to literally speak to the things in our life and command them to be however it is that will benefit us most, according to his will. And so the moment that we all step into that and really know that and believe that, the more peace that we will experience in our daily lives. Really doesn't matter what's going on or who's attached to us or who's not, But like I said, I still pray, because not everybody has made, they don't believe that, not everybody has made Jesus their source. And those who have are at different levels of faith. But I pray that those people get there, because it's really a wonderful place to be.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Like I said, I know where my provision is coming from. I mean, he fed Elijah with the ravens.
Yes.
Elijah didn't have to worry about, oh, how am I going to get food? It's like, I call the birds to come and bring you some stuff. Everything is under my authority. Everything's under my control. So, I mean, it's like, where's the next meal coming from? I'm like, you know what? I'm believing he's blessing me with enough so I can bless some other folks that's, struggling in their faith, and they can open up some opportunities thereby for me to minister to them and bring them into the fold as well. So now they're believers. I mean, there's just so much opportunity. I think that if people focus more on that rather than focusing on what's happening in their lives, they're focused so much on, oh my goodness, this is falling apart. And it's like, but you don't see the opportunity right now. There is so much opportunity for you to just lean in and grow your faith and read more and study more and learn more. There's so much opportunity for you to become, because it's really in the challenging times that you not only find out more about who you are, but you also become who it is that God's wanting you to be. Is often in those trials and trying times that you become. It's not when everything's going great for you. I mean, you even look at King David, when he, the moments that you think about were not like, oh, when he was sitting on his throne and feet kicked back. It was like, no, it was when, the lion and the bear that he had to kill. It was David and Goliath, when he had to go up against Goliath. But even before or after that, rather, but before he became king, it was, he was going through trouble serving under Saul, because Saul tried to kill him multiple times. And he was going through, this whole thing of, he had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to take him out. And he said, far be it from me to put my hand against the Lord's anointed. He's like, God put Saul there. I'm not about to kill him, even though everyone around me is telling me I should, because he's trying to kill me. And I've got opportunity after opportunity. It's like, you see that man grow in his faith there. You see him grow in humility there. You see him grow throughout those times. And it's like, these are those trying times where it's like, you see people fall apart, but this is an opportunity for you to actually grow stronger, pick up the weight, and, become who it is that God's calling you to be. So,
man, Frederick, you in the book. I was just reading that 2 nights ago about how David cut off a corner of Saul's robe, and because he didn't see him in the cave when he went to relieve himself. And David was hiding in the dark, and he said, I could have took you out if I wanted to. You don't even know. But I spared you, because how dare me touch the Lord's anointed. Saul didn't feel the same way. I mean, try to kill him with the javelin while he was playing the harp to get the evil spirits away from him. Try to kill me. Saul didn't have the same respect for David, but he never looked at David as the Lord's anointed. And not that he would have even realized or respected who that was, because he couldn't even respect Samuel when Samuel told him, kill everything, spare nothing. And he said, well, I spared the best of the cattle. I did what you told me to do. You confused as all get out. I said, kill everything. He didn't respect.
But you know who another one was?
He didn't even know what it was, which is why he lost his place. And so, David always acted more integrally than him. But you know who else had that? It's funny because I was just studying that.
Joseph also had that same thing where God told him, hey, this is, you're gonna be somebody great. Brothers, think about killing him. Then they decide in the last minute, okay, we ain't gonna kill him. We'll sell him into slavery. And then Potiphar's wife lies on him. And then he's in prison. I mean, he had opportunity after opportunity to be so bitter and so salty and so like, woe is me. Life has dealt me a bad hand. So you see how I am? I'm this way because life has been hard on me and you don't know what I've experienced. How many people have that story where it's like, oh, you have no idea what it is that I've experienced. You don't know what I've gone through. I'm this way because of everything that happened to me. And yet he's like, these were the opportunities in which I continued to strengthen my faith in God. I did not, do the things, sleeping with Potiphar's wife, whatever it was that I should not have been doing. I stayed faithful to God. And even when people were doing me wrong, I still, stayed faithful to what he had put inside of me. I mean, he didn't have to interpret no dreams for nobody. He could have just been like, these dreams have got me into more trouble. I had a dream. I told my brothers tried to kill me. And
but
then,
he said, what you meant against me for evil, God has used it for your good. So don't even worry about it. Y'all ain't even got to apologize.
Yeah.
I told y'all was going to be bowing down before me, though. That's funny because I was just talking about this today with my friend. Why are you all in my conversations? Why you check on my phone?
That's the spirit. I don't know.
Check up on my phone. I was just telling him, I said, because I feel the same way. Well, like when God puts me in a situation, I know that he's going to use me, especially when it comes to the houses that I list and sell. And one thing that I've noticed is that how God's anointing is always on me and with me, especially here in this last year. Anything he gives me, I'm going to excel. And my clients who trust me, they know that they can depend on me. And I said, it kind of reminds me of the same anointing that Joseph had whenever he was put over something, whether it was the jailer in the jail when he got thrown into jail from what Potiphar's wife did, or even Potiphar himself, whatever manager, whatever leader gave him a management position, it said that they never worried about anything that was under Joseph's care because he was just that anointed. And so it doesn't matter what happens to you. It's what you make of it. And so you have these people who are just, it's like they're permanent victims, and it's like, well, you did this to me. And so this is why I am how I am. When people fail to take accountability for where they are and why they act the way that they act, and it's always somebody else's fault, then they'll never be able to have complete control over their own lives. You're giving everyone else the power to do whatever they want to do in your life. Now that would be okay. It's just that every person in this world is always going to act in their own best interest first before they act in your best interest. So why would you want to put your outcome in other people's hands? Even on the airplane, they say before you help somebody else with their oxygen mask, you put yours on first. It's every man for himself, or at least every man first. If I see a homeless man on the corner and I know I just got paid, I'll give him something, but not enough to where I can't now pay my bills and I'm going to have to be sitting on the corner next to him. So everybody's only going to help you as much as they can still help themselves completely. And then whatever's left over, they'll give that to you. So don't be so quick to always blame your situation on other people and always, well, I reacted this way because you did that. You're the one with control. You have the say over your life, and you have the most control and the most say so over what goes on in your life. So you can't use the excuse your whole life that, circumstances and situations have you where they are, because that just puts the blame on everybody else. But what are you going to do about it?
You got to take the ownership. You got to take the ownership. So I'll say this last thing is that since you brought that up, because I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna say it because some people gonna get offended, and there's always
you know better than that. You better say it, honey.
Some easily offended people. Some of these people that is going through hardships right now. Yes, the government shutdown plays a role, but a lot of it is mismanagement of their own personal finances.
Yes.
And so I'm not here to try to make anyone feel bad about any of that. But what I'll say is, from this day moving forward, let's do a better job of making sure that we manage our finances better. Let's get some savings going, where you can have 3 to 6 months of expenses to where if your income stopped today, nothing in your life changes for the next 6 months because you've got that much saved up to where you can cover all your expenses. You've got a lot of people that have been living check to check. And then the first thing they'll say is, well, I don't have any other choice because I got a, laundry list of I got to pay this bill, But then it's like, but you took a trip here and then you got Netflix and then you got Hulu and then you go out to eat every week and you're at Starbucks 3-4 times a week. It's like, so you don't have to live check to check. That's about $250 right there that you just spend at between Starbucks and Netflix and Hulu and going out to eat. And we're not even counting the trip that you just took. Like, all of this stuff adds up. So if you know your income's not low right now, until you get that job, which is going to provide you with more income, let's, tailor it back. It's like, I see you just bought a new car. That's got you a $700 a month car payment.
Lord,
guess what? You could have bought a used car for a couple $1,000s. It accomplishes the same purpose of getting you from point A
to B,
to point B. That's it. It gets you from point A to point B. So, I mean, like I said, not trying to make anyone feel bad, but just saying, let's do a better job of taking ownership over our situation and not just quick to blame it on the economy, not just quick to blame it on, it's because things is expensive. It's like, well, yeah, coffee expensive, but you don't need to buy it.
Coffee pot and brew your own.
Exactly. Do that stuff at home. It's a lot cheaper. It don't taste the same. Okay, well, your budget has to go align. Your taste need to align with your budget.
Home bucks. Starbucks. Home bucks.
You don't need this champagne taste on a beer budget. You need to align them things together to where your taste is going to get used to what your budget is right now until your budget increases. And maybe that ends up being the thing that encourages you to start doing and making the changes that need to be made for you to actually increase your budget to where now your taste can change. Because if you are having to, make the cuts and constantly, and if that frustrates you that much, it might actually be the thing that motivates you to start doing the thing that you need to do to put yourself in a better, living situation. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to put that out. Like, start building up some savings so that when this, the next government shutdown, the next thing,
it's gonna be another.
It's gonna happen again. These Republicans and Democrats ain't just gonna all of a sudden after this election get on the same page. There's gonna be another thing that's gonna happen in the economy that's gonna affect you in some way. And if you're prepared with at least 3 to 6 months of expenses, 6 preferably, best case scenario 1 year, where you can just, nothing changes with your life because you got money in savings at least for the next 6 months. That's the best case scenario, but you got to start planning for all of that stuff. It was just like, what was it? Joseph, we were just talking about Joseph, when he got out of prison and he's serving second in command over all of Egypt, and Pharaoh has this dream and he interprets the dream, and hey, you're about to have 7 years of plenty. Everything's going to be great. And then you're about to go through 7 hard years, and those years are going to be so hard, they're going to make you forget the 7 years of plenty that came before it, because the ugly, cows that came in ate up the beautiful cows that were before in the dream. And so it's like those famine years are going to be so hard, you're going to forget the plenty that came before it. And what did Joseph do? He didn't say, you know what, let's live it up. Let's go to, splurge and everything. He's like, okay, no, when we got it good, we need to be tucking some aside. We need to be saving. He was storing stuff in barns everywhere. And the only reason that Israel made it through, Israel obviously coming from him and his brothers, the only reason that Israel as a nation survived, but also Egypt made it through, is because Joseph had the foresight to say, you know what? We need to save. We need to store, because things are going to get really, really bad in 7 years. So bad, you're going to forget this good that we got it right now. So we need to save while we got it. And you need to put that same principle in your own finances. When things are good, you need to be saving. It's not like, oh, it's time to spend, it's time to buy that new car. It's like, no,
Preach, Frederick.
get those savings in order first. And let's make sure because it's gonna flip at some point, and you're gonna end up being in that bad spot. So take ownership, save the money, start planning and preparing, and I think we'll be in a much better position whenever this does come around again, and it will happen again. This is not gonna be the last one. So
you preaching good, Doc. Where I send my offering?
Yeah, you can go to Hunger Church. Dr. Hart Ramsey.
Ain't that some good teaching?
Man, I heard his sermon from this past Sunday on time. I've learned it twice already. It is some good teaching. It is some good teaching. But that's all I got though.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Well, that's all we got. So next week, Friday, this week, whenever, the upcoming Friday, make sure you tune in to the next episode of Greatest Asset Community Podcast. Tuesday, Home Finance Hack, 7 p.m. live, Eastern Time. Till next time, take care. Be blessed. See you next week.
Peace out. A-Town down.